Welcome, new members, visitors, orienting people, volunteers, members who have been around for a while. Hello, welcome, everyone to our co-direct. The Boston Ujima Project is building a cooperative business, arts, and investment ecosystem by and for Boston's working class, Black, Indigenous, and communities of colors. As you know, each and every Wednesday, we hold political and financial education workshops where we come together to co-learn through study, through our workshop, and then co-creation through our member team meetings. And this is the co-direct. This is where you get a little inside scoop on all of the Ujima happenings, that's going on. So welcome to co-direct. And I want to introduce myself and give our wonderful co-facilitators of this space a chance to introduce themselves. I am Ray Fielder. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the director of Coalitions Policy and Grassroots Organizing here at Boston Ujima Project. And I will pass it to Nia.
Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you for a very warm welcome. I'm Nia Evans. I use she, her pronouns. I'm our executive director, and I will pass it to Sierra.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Sierra Peters. I use she, they pronouns, and I am the Director of Communications, Culture, and Enfranchisement. I will pass it to Simone.
Hey, everyone. I'm Simone. I use she and her pronouns, and I am an Ujima member. I'll pass it to Gio.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Gio. I use the he, him pronouns, and I am one of our community engagement managers here at Boston Ujima Project.
I'm Siona. I'm a member and also volunteer on one of the member organizing teams.
All right, so this is our crew for today that will be delivering co-direct to you.
Thank you very much, Ray. And so just to give you a rundown of the conversation really quickly, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 4 primary sections. So the first will be our announcements, updates, and previews section. And that's just where we're going to talk about whatever is new, whatever is upcoming on the horizon, as well as follow up on things that we've talked about before. And these are intended to be quick hits, not too much discussion about these topics. After that, then we'll go into areas that are more discussion oriented. So we'll have some conversations about some things that we'll be looking to Siona and Simone, for example, to hear some feedback about or some questions. We also have a feedback form that we will be attaching to this video. And so we encourage you to use that form if you have any questions or if you have any comments that you want to add to the conversation during this portion of the conversation. You can also feel free to add questions or provide feedback on our announcement as well. And then we will go into a formal question and answer period with our member representatives, Siona and Simone. Staff may participate in that as well. And then we will conclude. We'll just wrap it all up into a nice little bow, try to do some quick hit summarizing points for you. And we will also denote these different sections with some timestamps in the video. So you don't necessarily have to watch the whole video to get to the part that you may be interested in. You can check out our table of contents on YouTube, and you can click to go directly to that topic area. So first, announcements, updates, and previews.
So today I want to get us started with our Ujima 2024 theme for the year. So as I started this video off saying, we have a political or financial workshop each and every Wednesday. And this year, our workshops will be batched into themes that will be hosted or curated by some local partners. And so we're very, very excited to kind of sneak peek preview some of the themes for the year. So for the month of January, which is past, by the time you'll see this, we've done our reflection month. That is a staple time for us. January is always reflection month. But we're really excited for the spring selections. In February, we're going to have All Them Boys, the Rustin Film Talk Back. So you're going to want to join us for a film screening and group discussion of Rustin, a 2023 American biographical drama directed by George C. Wolfe. You're going to want to be there for all of the sessions. We have some wonderful speakers that will be digging into the contents of that film. We'll be talking about it as an organization and really digging in politically on what's happening in the film. So we're really excited about that one. In March, we have Disability, Politics, and Policy. March is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. And in this workshop series, scholars and activists excavate the histories and futures of the disability justice movement from the 1970s to the present. From the Black Panther Party's community survival programs, aiding to the needs of elders and disabled kin, as well as actions such as the 504 sit-in, leading up to the historic passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990 and beyond. Join us for a lecture series that highlights the courage, genius, and intersectional historical context shaping the disability justice movement. And then for April, because we're just going to give you up until early spring, we have Fugitivity 101, Refusal, Escape, and Exodus. In contemporary discourse, a growing body of narratives have emerged around themes of fugitivity, frequently referring to the escape from racial violence in the pre-emancipation period. Scholars and cultural critics often frame these concepts in the past tense, neglecting the present legacy of fugitive practices such as education, cooperative infrastructures, migration, and abolition. In this series of workshops, we will explore recent historical events and current practices of fugitivity and maroonage, focusing on sites of transformation, mobility, and possibility. We examine these practices through the perspective of fugitivity as a tool for envisioning and creating new worlds. So we are really excited to deliver, some action-packed, really interesting overall themes for our workshop series for the months coming up to you. And you will be able to see more comms going out as the months are approaching. And make sure you register and attend. See us on Wednesdays at 6.
Thank you so much, Ray. And just a quick note to add to that, for the month of January, we did go virtual because we are following what's happening with COVID surges. And we, at the time that we made the decision, I'm not super positive about what's happening now, but at the time that we made the decision, we were experiencing the second highest COVID surge. And so I just say that to say, we are making decisions about hybrid versus virtual month by month. So by the last week of January, we will communicate what's happening in February, and we will move accordingly each month. Right now, because we are doing a movie screening, we are hybrid, and those who are showing up in person to watch the movie must be masked to be safe. But again, just a reminder, if we can do hybrid, that is what we will do. But again, we're doing monthly monitoring to let you know whether or not we have to switch to all virtual. Great. I think next we'll kick it to member orientation, another exciting event that is coming up. And that will either be Ray or Gio. I don't know which one of you wants to take that one.
Yeah, I'd be happy to kick off some speaking to it. So Gio, again, one of our community engagement managers with Boston Ujima Project on staff. The member orientation, the very first for this year, is for folks that are curious about becoming a member of Ujima. You've seen us at a festival, you've seen us at a school, you've seen us somewhere in the community. You may have even heard about investment votes that have been passing. There's definitely information about becoming a member for you. And even if the ways that you've heard about it don't exactly match your interests, there are other parts of our Ujima ecosystem where there are opportunities to become a member. So please also consider if you're a returning member, someone who hasn't been around for a while. Maybe the pandemic caused it, maybe it was something else. We'd love to have you back meeting new folks, meeting our staff. And then if you would like to join online, there is a virtual option. It's really important that you RSVP, register online, so we have a great amount of people to prepare for. This will be at Black Market Nubian, 2136 Washington Street here in Roxbury, zip code 02119. And for all those tuning in on Zoom, it's the same RSVP. You go to our Boston Ujima Project website, and you can simply just type in, it will be our Boston Ujima website, and then it should appear on the home page. If not, feel free to contact one of us. Our emails are all over the place, but events is where you're going to find that on our website.
Thank you so much, Gio. And I think you're up for the next portion, which is where we were and where we'll be in February.
Absolutely. So upcoming, you caught us at a good time because it's important to share that we will be attending the Union Table Talk actually next week. For all those who are already tuned in with the Union Capital community, you may have already heard about the number of table talks they're doing in the communities and in person. The one that Ujima Boston will be at is January 30th. That's January 30th. In the evening. We have about 45 minutes to be able to share that with our community in an online setting.
Great. Thank you so much, Gio. Next, I'm excited to preview our next and first investment vote of 2024. So we put out a letter to our voting members that we'll talk about in our discussion section, where we talked about the voting program for 2024. And in that letter, we previewed that we will have an upcoming and our first vote for an investment in Kidogo Productions. We didn't put down a time because we didn't know it yet, but we now have a rough timeline. So we do believe that we will launch our next and our first investment vote of 2024 in March. Right now, the date that we have for that launch is March 5th. So please mark your calendars now. As an aside, March 5th also happens to be the week of Ujima's first seasonal staff break of the year, or maybe it's the second. I'm not sure. It might be the second. So we also will want to go ahead and just see now if there are some members that can volunteer to make calls that first week, because it's also really important to have a strong participation rate in the first week. We also encourage you to reach out to us and let us know. You'd be willing to find out exactly what the calls the first week look like, and do that so that a couple of our staff members can take break with us as opposed to working that week. But again, hold the calendar. We're thinking the week of March 5th, Kidogo Productions, that will be our next investment vote. We're very excited. So what that also means is the equity memo is coming out for that very soon. So we anticipate that the equity memo will be released in a couple of weeks. And we're also doing something a little new, but I think we'll talk about that later in regards to that. I'll move right along. I'm also going to preview, also in March, our next Ujima Fund Town Hall. We do have a date for that. That is set. That's not changing. That is going to be Monday, March 18th. So as a reminder, one of the things we do in our town halls is we go over what has happened with our most recent investor report. It gives us time to talk a little bit about the contents of that report. really bring people's attention to the great content that's in there. We review our most recent votes. So voting members, you know that on the ballot, we ask for feedback about the process. And so we also use the town hall as a time to review what that feedback was, talk about any actionable items, and talk about what actions we've actually taken with some of the actionable items. And in general, just make sure everyone is aware of how people are experiencing the votes. We also use it as a time to introduce potential new co-investors to the membership. So we use it as a time for members to have a chance to provide feedback, heavy objections, warm embrace, anything in between. At our first town hall that we had last year, we introduced our first co-investor, MCCI, Mill Cities Community Investments, who we then ended up co-investing in Bay State Banner with. So it's nice to see the line from these processes and these relationships to actual action and investment in real businesses in our communities. So Monday, March 18th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And I think right now it's hybrid. And again, as we get closer, if we have to switch to virtual, completely virtual, we'll let you know. I'll kick it over to you, Sierra, to talk about our next item.
Thank you, Nia. So as some of you may know, we launched our second ever publication, our first ever magazine, which we are calling Fortunately. We launched this in December, on December 15th, 2023. The website is up now and you can go read some of the articles online, www.fortunately.us. Fortunately is a post-capitalist lifestyle magazine centered around arts, culture, and economic democracy. In the pages of issue 0, you'll find artists such as the Unbound Bodies Collective, an economist named Francisco Perez, Mold Magazine founder Lin Yi Wan is our cover star, as well as a lot of other local favorites like Portia Olewola, the Small Format Cafe, and Resonate Co-op. So we're super excited about the launch, and we will be inviting you all very soon to our Boston launch. We launched in New York on Thursday, December 14th. And so we are super excited to be, launching in Boston. And so hope that you all will make it. Nia, should I say our tentative date?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. This is all getting edited out on post. Cut. We are launching on Saturday, March 23rd, 2024. Our party will happen from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be in person. So we hope that you all will be there. Dress fabulously. It's a launch party, come through. But we're so excited to celebrate the launch of our first magazine with you all.
Thank you so much, Sierra. Okay, next up, I am actually excited to talk about a new newsletter that was introduced last week, Thursday, January 25th. So hopefully you saw it in your inboxes. That's our UGBA WIRE. And so this is a newsletter that we've created that's dedicated to highlighting news coming directly from the Ujima Good Business Alliance. So news coming directly from our Business Alliance members or our fund portfolio members. And we see it as a way to provide our members and other people on our list with some actionable concrete steps that they can take to support our businesses directly. So one of the wonderful things about Ujima is our membership body that can act as ambassadors for our businesses, that can make commitments to support our businesses in different ways. And so we're excited that we now have this resource that we're creating, or that we've created, to provide actual guidance to our members, because we definitely know there are many moments where our members are wondering exactly what they can do besides voting to invest, and kind of even acting on their own where it may be easy, for example, going to a restaurant it may be easy to say, okay, I'll get dinner. But for example, in the wire that we released last week, we highlighted the fact that Bay State Banner has a home print subscription drive. And so definitely doing our part to highlight those efforts that may not be intuitive. So check it out. That's our new newsletter. It is replacing our staff wire, which usually ran during that week. And I'll leave it up to Sierra to talk about whether or not she wants to talk about why we're replacing the staff wire. So we may or may not talk about that. And this would be the third week of the month. Is that correct? So monthly, the third week of the month. Do I have that? Fourth week. Sorry, I have that incorrect because January has 5 weeks. So fourth week of the month. Be on the lookout for the UGBA wire. And again, be on the lookout for multiple concrete opportunities to support our businesses. Okay, I'll kick it over to you, Sierra, to talk about the next item.
Thanks, Nia. Super excited to talk about this one, our next assembly. As many of you know, we host assemblies twice a year, one in April and one in October. Last year, we had a doozy of an event where we held our first ever translocal assembly, which we called the Assembly of Black Possibilities. This time, we're bringing it closer to home in a neighborhood that I believe that we haven't had a neighborhood assembly in yet. So we will be hosting resuming our neighborhood assemblies, starting with Mattapan in April. We're calling all Mattapan residents. You're invited to share your experience, voice, and ideas at our 2024 Mattapan Neighborhood Assembly. This is an opportunity for us to collectively decide on the allocation of the Ujima Fund's investment dollars in 2024 and steer the development of our beloved Mattapan streets. What's on the agenda? You're going to share your experiences. You're going to be identifying businesses that you love. And hopefully, we're going to create this community-centered economy that we all dream of together. So we're super excited. Programming notes are coming soon. But I will announce our first community partner, which is Mattapan Food and Fitness Coalition. More partners will be joining on the way, and we will have an official announcement scheduled for mid-February. But while you wait, you can go onto our website, www.ujimaboston.com/Mattapan to sign up for updates. And as soon as, the announcements come down the pipeline, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you so much, Sierra. I'm gonna just kick it to Gio. I think if I'm reading that correctly, Gio, you had a couple of additional February opportunities you wanted to highlight.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you so much. I really wanted to share this with folks because we are out in the community, and it's important that our members and anybody who's interested in our work can find us and even participate. So just to follow up on a crucial detail, the Union Capitol Table Talk, January 30th, is going to be 6 to 8 p.m. So please log on at that time. Some important details about that these are network nights. And so it is a very type of open scenario with what can be talked about. It is about building connections in the community. So keep up with that series as well, because it may be coming to a neighborhood near you. An additional opportunity to meet with us in person is at the Healthy Bowdoin Geneva Fair, February 3rd. That's the Healthy Bowdoin Geneva Fair, February 3rd, and that's going to be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll be joining one of our Ujima Good Business Alliance members, the Dorchester Food Co-op, side by side. So you can come meet us. There will be at this fair. We also will definitely have the hoodies. I'll make sure of it. If you didn't purchase one last year, they are very warm, especially for this type of unpredictable season. Yeah, you can also volunteer for these things by going to our Ujima website and simply look for the volunteering link on the website. Volunteer opportunities can also exist online. If you are an Ujima member and you're interested in volunteering, I'll give you an example. Why don't you join us and hold down the virtual space for our member orientation? help those logging in online also have a wholesome experience as well. Ujima staff definitely will be online, but it's members like us that really make it like the more full, wholesome experience. So once again, Union Capital Table Talk online, 6 to 8 p.m. on the 30th. The Healthy Boat in Geneva Fair, February 3rd, in person. That is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the 7th will be the member orientation. Then that is hybrid. That will be 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. right before the resourcing member team meets later that night.
Wow, what an honor to round us out after hearing so many amazing updates around what's going on. So, we really care about our relationships here at Boston Ujima Project, and we have many kinds of relationships with our members, relationships between our member teams. And even Nia spoke to this earlier. We have really important relationships that we maintain with our external partners. So folks that are not Ujima members or organizations that are not Ujima members, but like really want to throw down with us. And with that being said, it is really important for us to set a standard for how we will be in community with these organizations. Not only, to set the standard for the other organization, but how do we want to be treated as Ujima? How do we want to show up? And we want to be intentional about building deep, strong, and very long-lasting relationships. So with that being said, myself, James Van Boy, who is our Chief of Staff, Community and Culture, and Genoa Daly, who is our Fund Administrator, have been working tirelessly over the last few months to establish what those standards look like. And so we have begun the process of categorizing all of our partners into partnerships categories and then saying, hey, this is what it means to be an aspirational partner. So maybe we don't have a relationship with you yet, but we really want to. This is what a budding partnership looks like. This is what maybe a moderate level partnership looks like. And this is what a deep partnership looks like, a comrade-like partnership looks like. And we are establishing those standards. Now, of course, this is Boston Ujima Project, so we cannot do anything with just the staff. We absolutely must have a democratic and participatory process. And so the membership body at large will not be asked to weigh in on this. However, there are folks who we are already in very, very, very deep partnership with that we will be asking to weigh in on the partnership standards. Do they feel good? Is this something that you think that, folks can agree to? And so we are going through this process of outreaching to our deep partners first to get that feedback and then get their agreements. And then we're going to be reaching out to the rest of our partners, which there are a lot on the list between now and June for a formal kind of implementation of these partnership standards. So we are absolutely excited, and we will be following up with you all as the standards begin to solidify themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ray. So once again, we have a feedback form that's attached to this video. It'll be the same form every time. Any questions, any comments, any reactions, any feedback, we encourage you to fill out the form. It's not at all burdensome. I think we ask your name and pretty open-ended question, but we do, I think, ask for your name and email address because we also want to be able to get back to you. So you've heard about a lot of things happening in terms of events. And then you also just heard about something happening in terms of kind of process and structure and relationships. So now we will go into the next portion of our meeting, or of this conversation, I should say, which is discussion. So the first discussion item, and I mentioned this a little earlier in the conversation, is our 2024 voting and investment infrastructure program. I'm going to kick it to you first, Sierra. Sierra and I are going to tag team this one, but I think I'll kick it to you first to talk about the first items.
Yeah, super excited to be talking about our 2024 voting and investment infrastructure program. As you all know, we launched the voting investment infrastructure letters in 2022. And this is just an annual update for members. So they're in the know about all things Ujima Fund and voting. And so we're super excited to talk about our progress, our investments, and what we'll be doing for 2024. So one of the first thing is about voting. We are increasing quorum from 51% or 50% plus one to 60%. This increase follows the upward trend of participation and enables us to be truly representative of the investment priorities of our Ujima voting members. Our first planned investment vote will be UGBA member Kidogo Productions, as Nia mentioned earlier. More information on member due diligence and our Q&A event will be released soon. But if you'd love to learn more about our, about Kidogo, their acceptance and their business, you should definitely go to ujimaboston.com/blog. Hit the keynote that says UGBA or Good Business Alliance, and you'll be able to find the original blog post sharing their announcement online.
Thank you, Sierra. And so just to say a little bit more about this quorum increase. So with the 50% plus one quorum, which was our previous threshold, that allowed us to say that at least a majority of Ujima voting members want the thing or don't want the thing, depending on which way the decision goes. So it allowed us to say it is reflective of at least a majority of our voting members. As Sierra said, we actually do want to be able to say more than that. We want to be able to do more than that. We do eventually want to work our way to a supermajority. And so 60% is a next step for us on our way to a supermajority. Again, as Sierra said, for us to really be able to say, when we are saying this is democratically decided, we're not saying 2 people decided that or 3 people decided that. We are saying the bulk of our voting membership made this decision. This also means that if you're a voting member, your participation is important. And I'm just hesitating because I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying you have to vote. Of course, we respect individual calculuses and we respect that you may not want to make a particular decision. You may not want to participate for one reason or another. I think I just want to note that definitely what this means on Ujima's part is by now everyone knows we have a hell of a get out the vote effort. You're going to get emails. I see Simone nodding like, yep. Siona is smiling. You're going to get phone calls. You're going to get texts. And that was with the 50% plus one quorum. With the 60% quorum, you're going to be hearing from us. So just know that. And you might even be hearing from more of us because we do definitely want to make sure that people who want to participate do. And even if that participation is saying no, even if that participation is saying I abstain and add my voice to the decision of the majority, or I abstain and I don't add my voice to the decision of the majority, or yes, and I have some concerns, Ujima, please look into this for me. So just wanted to make that note about the quorum.
In line with our voting, the increase in quorum, we're really excited to announce that we are continuing our voter affirmation process. And the voter affirmation process allows us to keep our records up to date and allows members to indicate which governance and investment decisions you would like to actively participate in. So we'll drop the link to the voter affirmation form in the description section of this video. This helps us target our communications with you appropriately. So if you don't want to be getting text messages and phone calls and emails, let us know. So when you're filling out your voter affirmation form, you're also asked to review your membership status and indicate your desired participation in our upcoming votes. So next up, we have our delegate program. So as many of you know, we have a group of super voters that help us maintain our businesses we love lists, and now our businesses we need lists. So in the past, we realized that everyone voting on 140 businesses just wasn't the best idea. And so we shifted to a new process that allows for a certain group of super voters to vote on smaller lists within their areas of expertise, be that their neighborhood or a sector that they're particularly passionate about or involved in, which allows for us to better research and better choose businesses to invite into the Ujima Good Business Alliance and to join our investment plans. Right now, we will have our delegates coming together in late February to become aligned and vote on our needs lists as named by members across all of our current unratified investment lists. We might also choose new super voters to join the delegate program. So if we reach out to you, just know you've been an excellent voter. We would love to have you, and we're super excited about the number of businesses that we have potentially joining the pipeline.
Excellent. Thank you, Sierra. And on that note, just want to give a shout out really quickly to Siona, who is one of our member reps for UCDN. So we first talked about this new businesses we need process at our first UCDN co-direct recording. And one of the things that came up in the question and answer period was whether we would try adding the call to the ballot. Since we already knew we would have people participating and votes. And so while they are already there participating, to try to get as much uptake as possible, we could add it to the ballot and have people name businesses at the same time. And so we thank you, Sienna, for that suggestion. We thought it was a good idea. We tried it. And I can't remember exactly how many businesses came through that method. But we had a good number of people that added to that named businesses that aligned with our businesses we need or not our what's the list, the 15 top needs that align to the 15 top needs as determined by community members. So super exciting. Just want to highlight that. And again, like I said, shout out to Siona. And hopefully that's encouragement. If you're watching and you have questions and you have feedback, fill out the form. Let you know we actually really do read all the feedback we get. We actually really do take into account all of the input that we receive. Not everything gets implemented. That's important to say. Democracy is not a fast food restaurant. It doesn't work that way. But everything does get considered. And you'll see there's real co-creation that happens with Ujima. All right, and then I think the last item for the programs here are the personalized investment forms.
Yes, this is your annual reminder, if you are a voting or resident member, to create your new personalized investment form. The personalized investment form is an opportunity for you to name BIPOC businesses you love, or businesses you need, businesses you've been thinking about, in our neighborhoods and across the city of Boston. These names will feed into the neighborhood investment list to be ratified by Ujima voting delegates for Ujima Fund investment. So it's super important that you fill it out. We asked you a couple different questions. What's a new need that you might be considering for your community, or perhaps name a couple new businesses, name a couple existing businesses, name some businesses you don't think get enough love. So we would love to have you fill out your new personalized investment form because it's now 2024.
Thank you, Sierra. You know what? I changed my mind. Why don't we go ahead? The last bit of that program letter is a quick celebration of some 2023 items. You want to just go ahead and knock that out really quickly?
Absolutely. So I'll make this really short and sweet. The first thing is investments. With the support of our members, we invested over $1.1 million across 5 businesses. This brings our total investments up to $1.6 million. Huge uptake, huge increase. Whoop, whoop. Secondly, we added 10 new companies to the Ujima Good Business Alliance. That is Bay State Banner, Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative, Live Like a Local Tourist Boston, Yamaku, Kidogo Productions, The Pearl, Cupcake Therapy, Eastie Farm, Shanti Restaurant, and Sydney Janie Design. Next up, Business We Need. As Nii explained earlier, in August 2023, alongside our Bay State Banner investment vote, we opened nominations for the Businesses We Need open call. It brought in over 40 new businesses that community members saw aligning with our needs categories. And, again, we're just designing the city that we need. So we were super excited at the number of businesses that came in, as well as the number of people who participated. So if you submitted a form, big up yourself. Thank you so much. And lastly, as previously mentioned, we voted across 5 investment votes, which is super awesome. We actually saw an average of 58.27% of the electorate participated in each vote. And if you don't know, Ujima has a lot of members, hundreds in fact. So the fact that we were able to have an average of almost 60% across all of our votes was spectacular. And just noting that this is an increase of just over 6% compared to the year before, 2022. We also reached a record participation rate in the cupcake therapy and the pearl ballots with 59.32%. So this was a banner year for us. We were super excited to reach really great heights. We had our first double investment vote. We learned a lot. We did a lot together. And we look forward to expanding everyday democracy with you in 2024.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sierra. All right, now I'll kick it to Ray. So Ray is going to talk about a burgeoning, more newly formal area of Ujima, and that's coalitions, policy, and grassroots organizing.
Great, thank you so much. So yeah, so as Nia said, we have a newer area of Boston Ujima Project called Coalitions, Policy, and Grassroots Organizing. And from that came my role and also a new member team, right? And so this work, in terms of what the member team is doing, is really in its infancy stage. And so I'll get a chance to talk about that a little bit. But Ujima has been active in this type of work really since our inception, and starting with our flagship issue of public banking. So I know y'all have heard us talking about public banking many times. The Massachusetts Public Banking Coalition is up and active and really even thinking of restructuring now. So this is an invitation for folks. If you want to learn more, if you want to throw down with some grassroots organizing, if you think that Massachusetts needs a public bank, then you need to join us in these efforts. This is another public banking is another staple in solidarity economy. It is another staple in building the world that we would like to see. And so join us. You can feel free to reach out to me at ray@ujimaboston.com if you're interested in learning more about the Public Banking Coalition. Just to give you a little update on where we are with the legislation. The legislation did go through with the financial services or Ways and Means, Nia?
Ways and Means
Committee. Yes. So we did there was a hearing for it at the Ways and Means Committee just this past fall, where it received a lot of positive feedback, a lot of support for establishing a public bank in the state of Massachusetts. And so we do know now, though, that our state is facing a budget deficit. And so the coalition is working diligently to think around that, because we know that even with a budget deficit, that a public bank is still very necessary for our people. And so we want to invite you to join us in being thought partners and being active participants in getting this thing passed. And so we are really excited for the potential to get the legislation passed Joint Rule 10 Day, which is coming up very soon, probably just after this video comes out. So once you see this video, reach out to me immediately if you are interested in doing that work. Another coalition that we're a part of that is active, that we're actively a part of, is called the Democracy Beyond Elections Coalition. And in that coalition work, Um, it is a coalition based out of the participatory budgeting project. And it is a national coalition of organizations and organizers doing things very similar, very different to Ujima, but with the common goal of building out more participatory practices across the country. And so you should be on the lookout for events from Democracy Beyond Elections, because they have very regular like political education workshops. They had several last year that were all very interesting. There is an opportunity to join that coalition as an individual or on behalf of your organization. So we ask that you continue. We need the momentum of that work to keep on going. And so yeah, Democracy Beyond Elections. So this is an election year. We've heard it a million times, and we're going to hear it every 4 years, that this is the most important election of our lives. And we know that there is democracy beyond election. So please join us there. With the Black Mass Coalition, a coalition of Black and Indigenous organizations across the country, I'm sorry, across the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth. We are working, we just completed our strategic plan for the year. And part of that looks like doing some research to figure out what needs need to be met across these organizations, being a connector piece. So bringing these organizations together to strategize, to build together, to be in more than just space and say, oh, I know Ujima, oh, I know Beckma, I know these organizations, but to really be building collective strategy with one another. And so Ujima has taken an especially important role in that work with Black Mass Coalition to plan statewide convenings this year in 2024. There will be much more information to come around that, but Boston Ujima Project will and Black Mass Coalition, who is a member of Black Mass Coalition, will be coming together to bring some statewide convenings, beginning with a funders convening that will be virtual, and then some more in-person convenings that will be across the state. So be on the lookout for more information around that as well. And then birth. So the Black and Indigenous Resistance Fund, which is, sort of a project outside of the Black Mass Coalition, is working on establishing our call for people to apply for funding. So last year we had a sabbatical fund where we were able to resource, I believe, 5 organizations, 5 executive directors, lead organizers, leaders of organizations to take a sabbatical, to take a step away from the day-to-day of their work and really focus in on other elements of their lives. You know that this work can get tiresome. Oftentimes we feel like we are fighting an uphill battle, and we are. Though it is a battle to fight, it is an uphill battle. And so we want to make sure that our folks are rested and restored. And so we want to bring back that sabbatical program. But through our research, what we noticed was that people needed more than just a sabbatical. Everybody wasn't ready to rest. Some folks were feeling especially fired up. And so we realized that there were other resources. And so be on the lookout, because we will be announcing some other programs for resourcing organizations through the Black and Indigenous Resistance Fund this year. And you'll hear about it more and more throughout our co-directs. And also a quick little tidbit that CPGO will be getting a new little corner in 2 of our monthly emails. And so we're so excited that we'll be regularly able to update you on what's going on in the world of coalitions, policy, and grassroots organizing, hopefully offering more on-ramps for you all to participate in this work. I'm going to transition us a little bit into what's going on with our member team. So the CPGO member team, like I said earlier, is definitely in its infancy stage. And if you were able to attend the reflection week for CPGO that was shared with the Anchor Institution, our member Athul talked a lot about the joys of being in that space, the joys of building a container, and the joys and difficulties of being able to or needing to take our time to do this work. There is a desire for Ujima to be a political home for folks, which means that we have to do this, we have to handle this kind of work with care. We have to build political alignment with care and with specificity. And so this is not to say that Boston Ujima Project, we don't have political alignment. We have values that we are very rooted in, right? We have standards that we are very rooted in. And I think that there comes a point, especially when we are talking about politics and what we are as a political organization, that we've got to get a little more specific while maintaining that we are an umbrella crew. We care about it all because we know that economy is at the intersection of a lot of the justices and injustices that we're seeing before our eyes. So with that being said, the CPGO member team is going to be, working over the next year tirelessly to try to build some of that political alignment with the organization at large, helping to support me with an event series that will be quarterly called Coalition Halls, where we will be, so excited about Coalition Halls. And this is more so at the partner level, right? So talking to our partner organizations, seeing what they're doing. Once again, another opportunity in the Boston area, this is like very specifically, but could be abroad, right? To figure out what their legislative priorities are and where are points of synergy and where do we need to be strategizing together, right? To be talking to one another to make some real big political gains for our folks. And so we are really excited about the launch of Coalition Halls, more information to come on that. They also have a desire to be working, within the community, to be getting a sense of, well, what do people actually care about? Are we missing anything? And so the CPGO member team will be hosting salons, legislative salons, where people can just come and talk. So this will be much different than our Wednesday workshops. This is not a space for really us to be like, hey, this is a particular issue. Here's some political education around it. No, this is a space for community members to come and talk that stuff, talk about what they are tired of, talking about what they want to see more of, talk about what they really love in their communities from a political legislative ordinance standpoint. And so we are so excited to offer more on-ramps to this work. And I think there is also the desire to be engaging our membership body regularly at our neighborhood assemblies, right? So this is another space where more of that alignment work can happen. And so we know democracy, like Nia said earlier, is not like a fast food joint. It doesn't, like, we don't just get what we want when we want it right then and there. You cannot have it your way all the time. But the thing that we are doing and we are really proud of is taking care to know that our political vision and our political identity as an organization is just as important as the hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments. It is who we are at our core. And so we absolutely want to invite you to our member team. We meet every second Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. without fail. And invite also cross collaboration between member teams. So at the last co-direct, there was a wonderful exchange between the Anchor Institution and the CPGO member team. And from that was a potential organizational collaboration with CPGO and an organization that the Anchor Institution has collaborated with. There has been a member from the Anchor Institution team who's like, hey, let me come to this next meeting. Let me see if I have some time and space to add this on in because I'm really interested. And we've had, through our outreach, we've had a few folks express interest. And so we are excited that there is more momentum around this work. If you're interested in building out a grassroots organizing infrastructure for Ujima, if you're interested in the policy and the nuts and bolts of like what's making this country move currently and changing material needs for our folks, if you're interested in being in community and in space and throwing down with folks from across different movements, then the CPGO member team is the place for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I like that. Grassroots organizing infrastructure in Ujima. All right. Thank you, Ray. We're rounding out now the discussion section, and it looks like I'm kicking it to Gio. So Gio is going to give us some updates on member teams that we've not heard about yet.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. So as we are rounding off, we are finishing up the month of January. We came out of a month known as Reflections Month, and you can see all this on our YouTube. It's all been recorded. So if you go to Ujima's Boston Ujima Project's YouTube page, you can see reflections coming from our staff, our anchor team, our coalitions policy grassroots organizing team, our resource member team, and also the arts cultural organizing team, where we heard even some special insights from our Ujima members that took on multiple corners of our work, some of which are here with us tonight. So you can see Siona speak intimately to that work as well as Catherine, who spoke intimately to the work of the micro learning pod as part of our arts and culture. What we're looking forward to and some updates, future updates, is that we'd like to invite all into the resourcing member team on February 7th. And just a little bit about that, the resource member team collaborates with values-aligned partners dedicated to providing unrestricted multi-year support and or engaging in reoccurring giving practices. So if you feel like you align with Ujima's values first and foremost, and have the skills to tap in to create recurring donors, to create, to give that financial push that goes hand in hand with our democratic approach to funds and redistributing them, definitely come stop by. Please log in on our website. It's really important that we have, our member teams working at the best capacity that they can, moving at the, not so much a speed, but more so, trusting each other and moving it along piece by piece, task by task. So please, that's February 7th, and that's going to be like every other member team meeting, 7:15 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then the following week, we have actually a lot more of a special thing going on. And I say special because it's just different. It's just different. And that's what we're about. So we have All Them Boys, as we heard earlier. So that's going to be taken that day on the 14th. Just everything is on our website for the events page. But back to our member teams in specific, you can join the next member team, Coalitions Policy and Grassroots Organizing, February 14th. We heard all about what that is and what that continues to be with Ray a minute ago. But that is the 14th, again, 7:15 p.m. Please log in there. Then finally, for the member team month, I'd like to say just a few words about the Anchor Institution Organizing Team. They are meeting on the 21st. They're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. If anybody wanted to share some intimate knowledge about that, that's more than fine. But I'll just say that they're working very hard to be able to, really just redefine anchor work again, with Ujima values being enacted. Okay. So that's really important to think about when we think about hospitals, faith-based institutions, universities, really putting yes, their money, but also their values to the test. Kind of sounds similar to what the resource member team also has at its heart too. All the work is connected to each other. Please don't feel like if you choose one member team or the other that you can't go to the other one. There is a calendar for a reason. You have your time. Hopefully you can join us and make it a Ujima Wednesday by doing the workshop, finishing off with a member team. And hopefully if you don't cook at home, there's always a UGBA meal, available if you could drive out or use one of the delivery things. So those are my member team updates. Unless anyone wants to share any more intimate details.
Thank you, Gio. Anyone want to share any more intimate details about any of the member teams?
I just want to say that there is no more romantic way to spend your Valentine's Day than to be with the CPGO member team. I mean, that is love. Talking about really from a political standpoint, how to reshape our world. That
Mhm.
feels like love to me. So come spend some time with me. And I don't have a Valentine.
I
So
appreciate that, Ray. And Gio put in the chat here, make it a Ujima Valentine's Day. That definitely will go on a list of memorable dates. I'll say that much. Siona, did you want to say anything?
I think thanks Gio for kind of mentioning the Anchor Institutions organizing team. We are organizing a retreat to try to re-examine quite frankly, how we've been stuck in the last couple of years within our organizing efforts. And it's people are more than welcome to ask to join that. It will be a little bit more intimate, and it'll be like, I think on a Saturday, a Sunday. So, but feel free to join us on every third Wednesday after the workshop is when our anchor institution teams meet to do our monthly organizing and check-in and ask about the retreat. So thanks for that plug.
Thank you so much, Siona. Okay, this wraps up our discussion section of the conversation. We will now move into questions, question and answer. Siona, Simone, we have some questions that you've jotted down here. Go ahead and throw it to either one of you who wants to take the mic first and ask any questions you have or provide any feedback you have.
How do I register for the weekly Wednesday workshop? And when I do, there's like a two-step process. So if someone can just kind of baby step me, and I apologize if, it's like one of those things, but I think because I get this a lot from, yeah, I'd love to kind of hear the official steps.
Thank you, Siona. And you don't have to apologize for that
Yeah.
question. You think you can answer that question for us, Sierra?
Absolutely. If you would like to join our weekly workshops, you can visit www.ujimaboston.com/events. That is the primary place where all of our events links are hosted. And yes, you do have to register via Zoom. The reason for this is because we have been Zoom bombed. And so we are currently trying to protect the statuses of our members, protect them psychologically, emotionally, etc. It hasn't happened in a while, but it did happen a lot, or a few times. Maybe not a lot, a few times. And so we just want to make sure that we aren't inviting any bad actors to our Ujima workshops. We used to, be very open, and we would share the link with everybody. And we realized that that wasn't, the best idea as we entered into 2020. Folks might not know, but we have always been hybrid at Ujima Wednesdays since the beginning of the Boston Ujima project. And so, whereas, once we got to 2020, as I stated before, a lot of bad actors got access to our, our website and our events and things like that. And so we just want to mitigate the cyberbullying. And so you do have to register twice. It is for security. So
just two quick follow-up questions then. Do I have to register every week twice? Or can I just use the same link?
both links do require you to register.
Okay.
So if you already have access to the link and you know what it is, you can just use the Zoom link.
Okay.
But we do ask that people register because it helps us keep track of who is coming to each event. And
Okay.
so it is important for us to have both. I think this is really great feedback though, and we can maybe look into other ways of sharing out our Zoom link. We will still use the key registration feature, which allows people to register online um, on our website. But I'm going to maybe look into that a little bit further. But just so you know, it is for security purposes that we keep things the same.
Okay. And then just the other follow-up, and Simone, that's the first question. I totally kind of switched them. But if we want to show up to Black Market on a Wednesday, is there a quick way for me to check if I can show up, that it will be hybrid? And then B, do I need to register?
We hope that you register because it does help us keep an accurate count on how much food we need to buy, what kinds of allergies folks might have if they are joining us, so we can buy a variety of dinner. As you all may or may not know, we do provide dinner every week at Ujima Wednesdays when we are doing the hybrid event. And so, you know, it's for us to kind of make sure that we have a little something for everybody. If you're a vegan, you know, you can't eat you know, you might not be able to eat oxtail. And so we just want to make sure that we know those things. But it is also to keep an accurate count of who is coming and to re-engage them if necessary in the future. And so we do ask that everybody registers at least on the website if they are going to join, in person. And so the second part of that question being, how do I check? Well, if you visit ujimaboston.com/events, you will see that underneath each event, it will say either virtual or hybrid next to the date, or just beneath the date on the event. And so that would be how you would check. So we do send out our weekly workshop emails every Monday at 12 p.m. And so those are just reminders as to what's to come on Wednesday. You know, get you ready to come hopefully sooner. We also do share on all of our social media platforms. So that's Ujima Boston. I'm sorry, that is at Ujima Boston on our all social websites. And so, you know, there's hopefully if you get a chance, you can, you know, look really quickly on our website. We might remind you via newsletter, but we also do post it every week on Wednesday on our social media platforms. So myriad of ways that you can find out.
Thank you. And then actually just a couple of things, just to follow up from that. One, I do just want to reiterate something that Sierra just mentioned quickly. Our workshop emails are going out on Monday now. So I think that was something we started doing in December or maybe even this month. Before we were sending them out on Wednesday, the afternoon of. And then you heard Sierra said it gives you a little more time to get ready. So that is a fairly new practice. So some people for some years have been getting them on Wednesday. Those workshop emails now do come on Monday. So hopefully it's more of a heads up. And the other thing, we actually haven't done the formal announcement yet. We do want a couple of things to be in place, but Sierra mentioned all our socials. Ujima is off Twitter. We actually got off Twitter a little while ago. There is a new place that we're migrating to that we want to have nice and prepped before we do make the formal announcement that we have left Twitter. And so also just if you look for us on Twitter, you're not going to see us there. So we just want to make sure you know that.
And the Monday email is still called the Wire, right?
The Monday email is the workshop reminder email.
Workshop
Thursday
reminder.
email is the weekly wire. So hopefully that helps distinguish things. So the Thursday email is usually announcements, updates, our digital publication, The Wire, or our new UGBA Wire. And the Monday emails are specifically about the workshops for the week.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Siona?
Oh, I don't want to hug up all the time.
Oh, this is all you. And
It does sound like, okay.
Yep.
Maybe just one shout out. The idea or the UGBA WIRE that's going out the fourth Wednesday or the fourth week. Amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the new newsletter. I think that is gonna be like gold for the anchor team who communicates and really is trying to continue with this faith network. Mostly allies and some, within the bounds of Dorchester, Mattapan, and Roxbury, but mostly allies that are egging for some kind of more concrete thing. So thank you so much. And then maybe one last question about, just curious about the Fortunately magazine and the connection with the New York launch versus the Boston launch. I'd love to kind of understand or hear more about that.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Yeah, so we launched, fortunately, December 19th, 2023, at Miriam Gallery in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. As you might notice across all 10 pieces, some people are cited in Boston, others in New York or around the country. And so New York was one of the key places for us because a couple of our board members, our advisory board members, are based in New York. Lin Yi Yuan, as well as Caroline Woolard. And so we wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for supporters in other cities to come and support the launch of this magazine. We were really excited to host it at Miriam Gallery, which has been a supporter from afar of Ujima and has followed our work and, sent really nice emails and, just really supportive of the things that we're doing on the arts and culture side. And has always been curious. So we were really happy to collaborate with them on that event. We were also really happy to host a couple people who were inside the magazine. So we hosted Brandon King, the executive director of Resonate Cooperative. Resonate is a music cooperative that's building a music platform to rival Spotify and Apple Music. They had previously, Brandon had previously been at our Ashe Ashe Cultural Assembly, speaking at a Ujima Wednesday. So Brandon lives in New York. Fei Lu, who was another person featured in the magazine, who's made an excellent game about dominoes that's teaching people about cooperative banking through playing dominoes and quarters. And so we wanted to have an opportunity to engage people in New York because some of our featured subjects, I guess, and writers were cited in New York. This next one, this next Boston launch, we're really excited about. We are hoping to make it a little bit fancier because we want to provide our members, our wider public, folks who have supported the magazine and who are in the magazine who are based in Boston, the opportunity to like really celebrate, the production of this new vehicle for communication that we have. As you all know, the call for Ujima's culture team and communications team is to really think about how we are storytelling, both the story of Ujima, the story of solidarity economy, and all of its economic democracy and all of its, umbrella concepts. And so we see this as one way for us to really drive home this idea that a post-capitalist lifestyle can exist. And it is happening, and people are dipping in and out of it, figuring out how best to live their lives every day. And so we want to provide opportunities to showcase folks who are doing excellent work across the country, to provide us with alternative ways of, living and looking at life. So we're really excited, to share our program and further details with you very soon, but just know it's going to be excellent. It's going to be really fancy. You don't have to dress up if you don't want to, but we hope that you do because we want everyone to come out and celebrate with us. So again, that will be on March 23rd, 2024.
Yeah, and there'll be opportunities for non-members to register or sign or buy a ticket or something. Okay.
Absolutely. We will also have subscription. So I didn't explain this earlier, but issue 0, and we're calling this our protesting print. So this is a free print. Anybody can come to the event, or maybe you'll have to get a ticket, but you'll
Oh.
come to the event, you grab a free copy, and they will also be made available. Copies of the magazine will also be made available both at Black Market and at bookstores across the city. So we'll keep you all
Nice.
updated for further opportunities to pick up your copy
Yeah.
in the coming weeks. But until then, yeah, just go to our website, www.fortunately.us, and you can read all the essays online now.
And also, Sierra, the event itself, allies can join or buy a ticket for the event itself. Okay.
Yep, and
Or
we will be
non-members,
releasing
sorry.
that. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can come. It's free to, I mean, I'm sorry, it's not free to the public, but anybody can come
Yeah.
and celebrate with us and join in fellowship in this. Celebrate the writers, celebrate the subjects, and celebrate Ujima. I think this is like one of the really spectacular things that you know, we came up with a couple years ago, and we've been nursing this idea for, you know, a really long time. So to see it come into fruition, it's been really excellent.
Well, the way you shared about it just now, it just kind of, it clicked in my brain, in my heart, because not being a natural cultivator of art or think like, I was like, oh, that's just not for me. But now I get it.
Absolutely.
Thank
And some
you.
of the feature titles that I think that folks should be interested in, as I stated before, we talked about why solidarity needs artists and artists need a
Yes.
solidarity economy with Francisco Perez. We talked to curator Camilo Alvarez about stewarding and not owning art. We talked with Brandon King about 10 points on playing fair and what playing fair might mean in the music economy. We also talked to Rosal Soalis from La Piñata, a very excellent, amazing organizing elder based in Jamaica Plain. We talked to the Bound Bodies Collective, and we talked about community economics and the future of food. So there's a lot of really excellent essays in there, and I hope that everybody gets an opportunity to enjoy.
Thank you so much, Sierra. And Siona, first, thank you for your questions. Thank you for your feedback, your reaction to the UGBA WIRE. So glad you're excited about it. I think perhaps maybe just one more thing to touch up on as we're talking about Fortunately, Sierra, is with the launch of Fortunately then was the kind of formal recognition, acknowledgement of Ujima publications and what you are now calling the umbrella. I'm leaving it hanging so you can take it away from me.
Thank you so much, Nia. Ujima Press. I'm so sad. We should have talked about that earlier. I forgot. So if you visit www.ujimaboston.com/publications, you will find 3 excellent publications that were released across 2023. With more to come. And so the first publication that we ever released was a reprint of Tamashi Jackson's Brown 2. And you all might remember that we had the Brown 2 book club in early 2022. I'm sorry, in early 2023. And so that book, the PDF of that book is available for free online, and you can find it there. We have Fortunately as well on that website, and we also have Channel Bliss, the first issue in the Channel series on that page as well. So I hope everybody gets a chance to come through, read about what we've been creating and cooking over here. And yeah, hopefully enjoy another opportunity or another entry point into understanding how the solidarity economy and economic democracy might enter your life, you know, in ways that you actually hadn't thought about. Like the fact that you might always be doing favors for your cousins, solidarity economy, time banking, not exchanging money. You know, I think that there's a lot of ways that we are already enacting a future outside of capitalism and outside of the normative ways of being. And I hope that this, you know, all these publications are a way forward, but also a reminder of all the ways that we're already doing this work and celebrating our own excellence as well.
Thank you. And I saw Siona mouthing, love it. Thank you. Super exciting. So this wraps up our question and answer. And again, just gonna say feedback form is linked into the video. If you have some questions that you want to add, Now that you've heard these questions, or if you have some feedback or reactions that you want to add, we do encourage you to do so. We're now going to go into the last section of our conversation, and I'll just kick it to Gio just to do a quick summary bullet points of what we talked about today.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for this evening. I'd like to take us into the conclusion. So this evening we were joined by our staff and our members. Please keep in mind that this is the spirit of our collective work and responsibility. So it's a key reminder and representation of our work in the now and also long term. So we heard about where we were in the community, especially during January Reflections Month, and where we will be, all of which you can check online and in-person events on our website. We also were able to hear what we have to look forward to in terms of programming. We have our member orientation on February 7th. We have our resource member team. Also on the 7th, we have Alden Boys, the Rustin movie talkback, February 14th. The other member teams and the remaining events all will be on our website for the remaining dates in February. So please look these up, RSVP to them, register and use the links. If it's a Zoom link you're using, use the link. Try not to pass it on to other people. They'll log in as your name. That'll look how it's going to look, you know? Unless you like that, unless you have minions. That's interesting to say. But if you want to continue to see what we have to offer, that also involves what we're launching in March, what we're highlighting in March. We do have the Fun Town Hall on the 18th. A lot of folks are looking forward to that within our ecosystem and outside. We have the Fortunately Mag on the 24th. That is March 24th. We're looking forward to a lot of, I'm sorry, it's March 23rd. It is the 23rd, March 23rd. These Ujima publications, which also include Ujima WIRE, we just heard some excellent dialogue about that. I don't even have to add to it. Please read them. Please come out to the launch, but also keep up. Please read them. Please react to them. Show us feedback. Show us love, kind of like how Siona just did this evening. Our Mattapan Neighborhood Assembly, it may seem like it's far away. It's really not, because we are planning every week. We heard a little bit about that earlier tonight, but I just wanted to say that some of my favorite Black-owned specific businesses are in Mattapan to this day. Want to shout out to them. Let's transition them from a business that we simply know about to a business we love. And then the rest, is up to the energy that our community puts behind it. We look also even forward, when we're looking forward to April, please look out for those dates in our typical newsletter, our wire. Our partnerships were highlighted with Ray. Please go back in the video if you want to hear more about that. Our voting and investment infrastructure was also highlighted. We heard some in-depth information about the coalition's policy and grassroots organizing team and our other remaining member teams, which are all on our website. The dates for those member team meetings do repeat every month, with the exception of certain holidays and maybe even the August rest month, which we saw last year in 2023. So please sign up, get your notifications on. If it's a Google Calendar, if it's an iCloud calendar, if it's a calendar on the fridge or in the living space, please set reminders for yourselves. And if you want to participate, there's always volunteering. There's memberships that you can take out with us that have different levels of participation. And then, as always, invite your friends, tell your friends about us, because in order to be Ujima, we have to have a collective push behind this work. So thank you again for joining Co-Direct this evening.
Thank you so much, Gio. Wonderful conclusion. We're going to say good night. Thank you for joining us.